Chosen one. You've probably been feeling it lately. The tension in the air when you walk into a room, the subtle stares, the fake smiles, the conversations that go silent the moment you approach. It's not your imagination. People are talking, and the reason is simple. It's all about you. Your presence, your energy, your progress, your glow. They see it, and it's driving some people mad. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because you've done everything right in a world where many gave up. You've been working in silence, minding your own business, and focusing on your own growth. Yet somehow, even without trying, you've become the center of attention. That's because real success, real growth, and real light can't be hidden. And whether they want to admit it or not, you've become the standard they measure themselves against. And here's what makes it even more intense. You didn't just wake up like this overnight. They've watched you struggle, they've seen you face challenges that would have crushed most people, and instead of falling apart, you turned those moments into fuel. That resilience is what's got them confused, frustrated, and yes, jealous. See, people expect you to fail after hardship. They expect you to break when life gets heavy, and when you don't, it messes with their heads. They start wondering, what does this person have that I don't? They start comparing their chapter to yours, forgetting that your story is built on discipline, faith, and choices they weren't willing to make. And deep down, they realize they can't replicate it, because your strength comes from a place that's not for sale. This is why you'll notice certain shifts. People you thought were for you suddenly becoming distant. Friends who once celebrated your wins now falling silent when you share good news. People trying to downplay your achievements or make little comments to get under your skin. It's all because your success is forcing them to confront their own lack of action. When they see you pushing through and thriving, it shines a light on everything they've been avoiding in their own lives. And rather than being inspired, some choose to be bitter. But here's the thing. None of that changes your mission. None of that changes who you are or where you're going. In fact, this reaction is confirmation that you're on the right path. So understand this, chosen one. The jealousy, the gossip, the strange energy you're feeling, it's not a sign to stop. It's proof that your light is shining so brightly, it's impossible for them to ignore. You were not made to blend in. You were not made to tone down your gifts just to make others comfortable. You were made to stand out, to inspire, and to lead, even if that leadership makes some uncomfortable. And yes, it's all about you right now, not because you're asking for attention, but because your growth, your transformation, and your presence demand it. This is the talk of the town, and whether they speak your name with love or with envy, they're still speaking it. And that means you're doing something right. Chosen one, people are mad and jealous. It's all about you. You've probably felt it for a long time, even before you could put words to it. There's this tension in the air when you walk into certain rooms. Conversations change, energy shifts, and eyes follow you like you've just stepped onto a stage you didn't ask for. They can't hide it. The way their smiles tighten, the way their voices strain to sound normal while their minds are racing with comparisons. They watch you not because they want to learn, but because they're waiting for you to stumble. But here's the truth they'll never admit. It's not about what you have or even what you do. It's about who you are. Your presence itself triggers something deep inside them. It exposes insecurities they've been hiding, and it forces them to confront the reality that their best efforts can't replicate what comes naturally to you. And before we go deeper, I want you to do something. Stay with me until the end of this video because there's a reason you're hearing this right now. If you feel this message in your spirit, I encourage you to write your most sincere wishes and 777 in the comments as a way of releasing that energy into the universe. This isn't just about typing numbers. It's about planting your intentions into fertile ground, allowing your words to carry energy, momentum, and spiritual alignment. And while you're here, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you're always connected to messages meant for you. The right energy, the right timing, and the right mindset can shift everything. And today, that shift begins. Chosen one, the jealousy you face is not random. It's not all in your head. You are living proof that favor is real, that gifts can't be manufactured, and that some things are simply God-given. They might tell people you got lucky, but they know deep down it's not luck. It's alignment. It's purpose. Your life is a living testimony of resilience, and it's hard for them to digest because it reminds them of the work they haven't done in themselves. The way you move, the way you think, the way you see solutions where others see dead ends. It all looks effortless to them, but they don't see the nights you've spent battling in silence, the private wars you've fought, the prayers you've whispered when no one was watching. They want your results without your process. They crave your light but refuse to go through the fires that forged it. They watch you rise and it eats at them. Every accomplishment you make feels to them like a personal loss. Every smile you wear feels like an insult to their misery. And the strange part? Many of them can't even pinpoint why they feel this way. It's spiritual. Your very being disrupts the false peace they've built around themselves. They see you walking in authenticity, and it exposes every mask they've been wearing. They can't compete with someone who's not competing. You've stepped out of the race they're still running, and now you've become the finish line they'll never cross. This is why they gossip. This is why they try to plant seeds of doubt about you. This is why they side-eye your joy and question your motives. Because deep down, they know you are not ordinary, and that terrifies them. And here's the thing. Your journey is about to magnify this even more. As you step into your next season, you're going to notice that some people can't even look you in the eye anymore. Not because you've done something wrong, but because your growth is accelerating at a pace their minds can't keep up with. They'll pretend they don't see it. They'll downplay your wins. But make no mistake, they're watching, and it's shaking them to their core. They can't figure out how you keep going when, by their standards, you should have given up a long time ago. They've seen situations that would have broken them completely, and yet you came out stronger, sharper, with even more focus. That's the part that drives them mad. They thought your hardships would leave you bitter, but instead they made you wiser. They thought isolation would make you invisible, but instead it gave you clarity. And now, every move you make feels intentional, like you're steps ahead of everyone without even trying. This is why their jealousy isn't just a passing feeling. It's a deep, unsettled awareness that you are operating on a frequency they can't access. What they don't understand is that you didn't get here by chance. Every challenge you've faced was shaping something inside you. While they were chasing recognition, you were building character. While they were busy impressing people, you were quietly sharpening your gifts. They mocked your stillness because they thought it meant you were doing nothing. But in reality, you were aligning. You were learning how to observe without reacting, how to read people without speaking, how to spot the difference between those who cheer for you and those who cheer against you. And now, that ability has made you untouchable. It's why they talk about you when you're not there. It's why they try to paint you as something you're not. Because when people can't reach your level, they'll try to pull you down to theirs. Chosen one, here's a truth that will set you free. Their jealousy has nothing to do with your worthiness. You don't have to shrink yourself so they feel comfortable. You don't have to tone down your blessings to make them more palatable. The light on your life was placed there for a reason, and it's not your job to dim it. It's their job to adjust their eyes. You were never meant to fit into their limited vision of what's possible. You were meant to expand it, to show that the rules they've been living by are too small for what's actually available in this life. And I know it's exhausting. Carrying this level of spiritual favor can feel like walking through a world that's constantly measuring you, weighing you, testing you. But remember, you're not here to prove anything to anyone. You're here to embody your purpose. The very things they're jealous of now are the things they once thought were weaknesses. They underestimated the quiet in you, the patience in you, the way you don't need to be loud to make an impact. But you've turned those things into your greatest strengths. You're not competing for attention, and that's exactly why all eyes are on you. This next season will reveal even more. People who once pretended not to notice you will suddenly want to align with you. Opportunities will come that you didn't even chase, and those who spent their energy trying to block your path will have no choice but to watch you walk straight through doors they swore would stay closed. This is the moment where you realize their jealousy was never a barrier. It was proof that you were already standing in a place they couldn't reach. When people are mad and jealous, they rarely show it outright at first. Instead, it leaks through in subtle ways. The backhanded compliments, the sudden distance, the way they forget to include you when opportunities come up. But you, chosen one, have developed a sharp awareness. You can feel energy shift without a word being spoken. You notice the way their smile doesn't quite reach their eyes anymore, how their voice tightens when your name is mentioned in a room. This sensitivity is one of your greatest gifts, because it allows you to move with precision. You don't waste time trying to convince someone of your value when their heart has already decided to be threatened by it. And here's the thing. It's not just strangers or distant acquaintances who feel this way. Sometimes it's the people closest to you, friends, coworkers, even family. They've been so used to you being at a certain level that when you start rising, it disturbs the balance they're comfortable with. Your growth forces them to confront their own stagnation. Your courage exposes where they've been playing small. And instead of being inspired, some choose to respond with envy. They'll project their fears onto you, telling you that what you're aiming for is unrealistic, too risky, or not for people like us. But those words aren't about you. They're about the limits they've accepted for themselves. The dangerous thing about jealousy is how it fuels narratives. Before you know it, they're telling other stories that twist your intentions, making you look arrogant, selfish, or undeserving. And yet, despite all this, you remain calm. Why? Because you've learned that defending yourself against every rumor is a waste of energy. Truth always finds a way to surface, and time has a way of revealing who was genuine and who was hiding behind a mask. The ones who speak against you will eventually expose themselves through their own contradictions. What they don't realize is that your resilience isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving in plain sight. You have mastered the art of keeping your focus forward while the noise happens behind you. You've learned how to let their words be background static instead of the soundtrack of your life. And because you refuse to play their games, you win by default. Your silence frustrates them because they want a reaction. Your grace disarms them because they want you to stoop to their level. but you've outgrown the need to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Understand this. Their jealousy is proof of your impact. People don't talk about things that don't matter to them. If they're keeping your name in circulation, it's because your presence has left an imprint they can't erase. You've awakened something in them that they don't want to face. The fact that they could be doing more with their lives if they had your level of dedication, faith, and discipline. And rather than stepping up, it's easier for them to resent you. That's why you must keep going. Every step you take toward your purpose is a silent declaration that no amount of envy can stop what's divinely set in motion. This is the season where you'll start seeing separation. Not because you're pushing people away, but because they'll remove themselves when they realize they can't keep up with your pace. And that's not loss, that's alignment. Your path will become lighter, clearer, and freer as the wrong energies fall away. You'll start attracting people who celebrate your wins genuinely, who want to grow alongside you instead of competing with you. And when that happens, you'll look back and see that all the jealousy you endured was just a filter, removing what was never meant to walk with you into your next chapter. As you move forward, chosen one, you'll notice that the jealousy doesn't just stay hidden in whispers anymore. When they realize their quiet envy isn't breaking you, some will escalate. They'll try to sabotage opportunities, plant seeds of doubt in the minds of others, or create situations meant to embarrass you. But here's where their plan always fails. They underestimate the covering you have over your life. You're not moving on your own strength alone. You're walking with an authority they can't see but can certainly feel. And that's why their efforts don't land the way they expect. See, what they can't stand is that you don't just have talent. You've cultivated discipline. You've shown up on days you felt unseen, kept working when there was no applause, and pushed through battles no one even knew you were fighting. They think the spotlight is the reason for your success, but they forget there was a long season when there was no spotlight, and you still gave your best. That kind of consistency can't be faked, and it can't be bought. It's earned, and because it's earned, it's yours to keep. This is why jealousy is so dangerous for them, because instead of focusing on building their own path, they waste their energy watching yours. While they're busy discussing you, you're busy producing results. While they're strategizing how to dim your light, you're learning how to make it shine brighter. Every hour they invest in hating is an hour they lose in creating something meaningful for themselves. And deep down, they know it, which is why your very existence feels like a mirror reflecting their wasted potential back at them. But here's the truth. Your mission is not to shrink yourself to make them comfortable. You were never meant to blend in. You weren't chosen to be invisible. You were chosen because your life carries a message that challenges mediocrity and demands growth. The way you speak, the way you move, the way you refuse to settle, it all sends a signal that says, I know my worth, and I won't trade it for approval. That signal is magnetic to those ready to rise and infuriating to those who would rather stay the same. You've probably already noticed it. The more confident you become, the more your circle changes. People you thought would be by your side for life start to fade, not because you stopped caring, but because they can't relate to the version of you that refuses to live in fear. They might call you different now, and they're right. You are. You've outgrown the spaces where jealousy breeds, the conversations where people bond over tearing someone else down. You no longer find satisfaction in proving your worth to anyone. You simply embody it. And the beauty of this transformation is that it not only frees you, it inspires others silently watching from the background. People you didn't even know were paying attention will start to reach out, telling you how your courage gave them permission to dream bigger. And here's the irony. The same ones who were jealous will try to rewrite history, acting like they supported you all along. But by then, you'll have learned that your energy is too precious to waste on proving who's genuine. Your results will speak louder than their words ever could. So keep walking, chosen one. Let them talk. Let them watch. Let them wonder how you keep winning despite everything thrown your way. Because the truth is, you've already won in ways they can't measure. In peace, in purpose, and in the unshakable knowing that you are exactly where you're meant to be. Chosen one, you've reached the stage where your very presence in a room shifts the atmosphere. It's not about arrogance, it's about alignment. When you walk in, you carry the weight of everything you've endured and everything you've overcome, and people can feel it, even if they can't explain it. This is where jealousy takes on a new form. It's no longer just envy of what you have, it's intimidation by who you've become. You see, in the beginning, they thought your wins were a fluke, maybe luck, maybe a one-time thing. But after watching you consistently rise above setbacks, after seeing you bounce back from moments that would have crushed most people, they realize this isn't luck. This is who you are, and that's what shakes them to their core. Because if you can operate at this level while carrying the battles you fought, then what excuse do they have for staying where they are? Some will try to mask their jealousy as advice. They'll tell you to slow down or be careful or that you're changing. But what they really mean is, stop growing so fast, you're making me uncomfortable. And you'll notice, their so-called concern always benefits them, never you. If you took their advice, you'd stay small enough for them to feel secure. But you've already decided that your calling is too big to be boxed in by their limitations. This is also when people start trying to study you. They'll watch your habits, your moves, your patterns, hoping to replicate them. But here's the thing. They can mimic the actions, but they can't duplicate the spirit. They can wear what you wear, talk how you talk, and even move how you move, but it will always be missing the fire that's uniquely yours. Because that fire wasn't handed to you. It was forged in seasons they never saw and battles they couldn't survive. And that's the part that eats them alive. The realization that what you carry can't be taught in a seminar or stolen through observation. It's built through pain, perseverance, and faith that doesn't break under pressure. They could follow you step for step and still end up miles behind because they're chasing an outer image without the inner foundation. You'll also start to notice something else. The more your influence grows, the more people try to rewrite your story. They'll leave out the parts where you struggled, where you sacrificed, where you were ignored and doubted. They'll act like you just appeared successful out of nowhere. This is their way of protecting their pride. If they admit how much you've worked, they'd have to admit they could have done the same, but didn't. But chosen one, you don't need their acknowledgement to validate your journey. You know the nights you stayed up working, the times you pushed through fear, the moments you had to encourage yourself when no one else was around. And because you know it, you also know no one can take it from you. So let them whisper, let them watch, let them attempt to copy. The truth is, while they're busy trying to match your moves, you're already 3 steps ahead. Not because you're competing with them, but because you're competing with the version of yourself from yesterday. And that's a race they'll never be ready for. Chosen one. By now you've realized that jealousy isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It's in the silence after your success. It's in the sudden pause when you share good news. It's in the way their tone shifts just enough for you to feel it in your spirit. They won't always attack you directly, Instead, they'll distance themselves, hoping your light dims without their presence. But what they don't understand is that your light was never dependent on their proximity. You didn't get here because they clapped for you. You got here because you kept going even when no one was watching. Their approval was never the fuel for your journey. Your faith, your discipline, your relentless drive were. And that's why, even in isolation, you continue to thrive. Some will disguise their envy under the cover of humor. They'll make subtle jokes about you thinking you're better or acting different. But chosen one, understand this. People rarely joke about things they're truly comfortable with. If it didn't bother them, they wouldn't bring it up at all. Those jokes are confessions in disguise. They're telling you exactly how they feel, but they wrap it in laughter so they don't have to face their own insecurities. And then there are the ones who will flip your wins into something negative, as if succeeding is a crime. You'll hear things like, "Must be nice to have it easy," or "Not everyone gets lucky like you." This is their way of avoiding the truth, that your success was earned, not handed to you. Because if they admitted that, they'd have to confront the reality that they didn't put in the same effort. Your growth will also reveal how uncomfortable people are with change. They liked you better when you were struggling because it made them feel closer to you. The moment you start stepping into your calling, the moment you start moving differently, some will feel like they're losing you. But the truth is, you're not leaving them behind. You're just refusing to stay stuck in the same place. And this is where you have to make a choice. You can shrink to make them comfortable, or you can keep growing and trust that the right people will adjust to your elevation. Because the reality is, not everyone who starts with you will finish with you, and that's okay. Some people are only meant to be part of your journey for a season, not the destination. The most dangerous part of jealousy is when it turns into sabotage. This is when people start subtly working against you, leaving your name out of opportunities, spreading half-truths, or planting doubt in the minds of others about your character. And sometimes, this will come from people you thought would protect you the most. It hurts, but it's also a blessing in disguise, because it exposes who was never truly with you. When you notice this happening, don't fight fire with fire. Instead, keep moving in silence. Let your actions speak so loudly that their lies collapse under the weight of your consistency. The more they try to pull you down, the more your success will make their efforts look foolish. Chosen one, remember this. You are not responsible for managing other people's insecurities. You are responsible for walking in your purpose. And if your purpose threatens their comfort, that's a sign you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Chosen one, as you rise higher, the air gets thinner. Not everyone can breathe at the altitude you're climbing to. Some will try to follow you out of pride, not realizing that the discipline, resilience, and sacrifice required at this level will suffocate anyone who's unprepared. That's why you see so many falling off or turning bitter. They thought they could match your pace without matching your work ethic. The truth is, you've been through a training ground they never saw. You endured sleepless nights, relentless pressure, silent battles, and moments where quitting would have been the easier choice. But you didn't quit. You didn't crumble. And now, when you move with a strength they can't explain, because they never saw the pain that built it. And here's the thing about jealousy. It's often rooted in a false belief. People think your path was smooth, your doors were always open, and blessings just fell into your lap. They don't see the locked doors you had to kick down, the opportunities you lost before you learned how to win, and the seasons where you were your only cheerleader. That misunderstanding creates resentment, because it's easier for them to call you lucky than to admit you worked harder. Some will even study you, not to learn from you, but to find a weakness they can exploit. They'll watch how you speak, how you move, who you associate with, and they'll analyze your every step, hoping to predict your next move. But what they don't realize is that your strength isn't in your predictability. It's in your ability to adapt. You can change directions in an instant and still land exactly where you're supposed to be, because you're led by something greater than their understanding. But the beautiful thing is, this isolation sharpens you. It teaches you to hear your own voice above the noise. It forces you to trust your intuition, to rely on your vision, and to keep your focus locked even when distractions come dressed as friends. It's in these moments that you realize you don't need a crowd to validate your worth. You only need alignment with your calling. Chosen one, as you step into this next chapter, you must understand that the very energy you carry is something many will never possess. And it's why they speak your name when you're not in the room, why whispers follow you, and why their eyes linger a little too long when you enter. Because deep down, they can't reconcile how you continue to rise despite every silent obstacle placed in your path. You've mastered the art of moving in silence, of letting your results speak before you ever open your mouth, and it drives them into a frenzy because they can't figure out your formula. They've seen people with more resources than you fail, people with louder voices than you fade into irrelevance, yet here you are, still standing, still commanding attention without begging for it, still making moves they can't predict. And the truth is, it's not just your talent or your discipline, it's your spirit, the unshakable force within you that refuses to be broken. That spirit intimidates those who operate in ego, because no matter how much they try to outperform you externally, they cannot match what fuels you internally. This is why they gossip, why they doubt, why they throw shade in subtle ways, because acknowledging your greatness out loud would mean admitting to themselves that they have fallen short. But here's the thing. You were never here to compete with them. You were here to complete your mission. Your purpose was written long before their opinions, and your victories were destined long before their attempts to block them. So let them watch, let them speculate, let them sit in rooms and try to predict your next step. Because the reality is, they will always be 3 moves behind. While they're still trying to figure out how you did it, you'll already be on to the next breakthrough, the next chapter, the next transformation. This is your season to move unapologetically, to take up the space you've earned, and to stop explaining your every decision just to make others comfortable. The ones who are meant for you will celebrate your wins, stand beside you in the storms, and grow alongside you without letting jealousy poison the connection. The rest will simply fade into the background, watching from a distance as you continue to embody the truth they can't deny, that what you carry cannot be copied, cannot be bought, and cannot be destroyed. Stand firm, move forward, and remember that you don't have to prove anything to anyone. Your light will always speak for itself, and your destiny will always outshine the noise.